There's something that I've struggled with over the years and continue to struggle with, and something that people ask me about all the time, but it's so personal and idiosyncratic that it's really hard to give anyone a definitive, straight answer on it. But what I want to do in this video is at least give you a partial answer to that and show you what I do to answer this question. And the question is, as nylon string guitarists, what the hell are we supposed to do with our fingernails? Okay, look at my nails today. I purposely grew these out over the last week or so, knowing that I was going to do this video so I can show you what too long looks like, because these are way too long. You should never have them this long, unless you're just trimming, and we'll talk about that. But I want to, in the course of this video, show you how I file down and care for my nails, and I'm going to do that as we go along, and they'll get shorter and shorter, and hopefully I'll come to a good length and result to where things are sounding good, but there's no guarantee. So every guitarist is different. We all have different body sizes, our legs, our arms, our joints, our fingertips, our fingers, all work differently. And with the way that we strike the string is also very idiosyncratic and different. You might want to get a different sound in certain situations. So what I strive to do is to have as multi-purpose a nail as I can, so I can attack the string from different angles with the minimum resistance. But in a way, answering the question, how long should my nails be, is like saying, what should the size of my pants be? Because I don't know who you are, and everybody's different. You're going to have to try on different sizes to see what fits you. And so, sorry to say that we can't do a one-size-fits-all answer for this. You really do have to experiment a lot with this to find something that works for you. I can narrow a lot of this down into two maxims. One of them is what not to do, and one of them is what we should do. So what not to do is to have really long fingernails. And this is a nylon string flamenco classical fingernail myth, and that is, you need to have long nails to play. In fact, the longer the nails are, the more likely you are to get caught on the string, especially for upstroke, especially when you're doing more intricate stuff with the right hand. If you're just strumming, let's say that you just wanted to strum chords around the campfire, you can have really long nails for that, especially when you're going down a lot. Going up might be another story, but even then you can have long nails. But what I'm talking about is we're playing chord melody arrangements for solo guitar. We might be playing some classical guitar pieces, some flamenco guitar stuff, and we want to have our nails be able to handle the maximum number of different techniques easily. And if your nails are too long, you're not going to be able to do it. So as Pepe Romero says, when you first start out on classical guitar, you shouldn't have any nails at all. Did Pepe Romero say that? So we know what we don't want. We don't want the nails to be too long. But how long is too long? Well, we'll talk about that, and sometimes that's hard to even figure out an answer to that question. But on the positive side, what we do want is to have a smooth nail with no jagged spots so that we can smoothly cross the string. Here's a caveat. A lot of this depends on the sound that you want to produce. If you like a more naily sound, you might have your nails a little bit longer, but not too long. And some people like the fleshy sound more. So can we find a spot where we can get either of those sounds by just moving our finger and changing the angle of it slightly? That's what I shoot for with my nails, and I want to show you how I do it. If you like this video so far, click the like button. So like I said, this is an age-old question, and something that I've been meaning to do for a long time is make this video, and I've kind of been putting it off because I don't want to talk about nails because it is so hard to tell any one person what they should do. But I did come prepared. I can prove that I've been thinking about this because I went to the drugstore and got a bunch of accoutrements and tools here. And check this out. So this is a package that you can get for caring for your nails. It's got a pair of scissors in there. We don't need that. But it's got clippers and a metal file and these really rough emery boards. If you have one of these at home, you should take it and never use it on your nails. Now those metal files are durable, they're made of metal, but even those wear down. But most of those metal files are super coarse, and we're just going to shred our nails up. So the weird paradox here is we can be very diligent about filing our nails every day, but if we're doing it with something super coarse and we're just going back and forth like this, we're destroying our nails and just making them worse and worse, producing bad tone, still getting caught on the strings. So please do not use a clipper for the same reason on your nails, or a metal nail file. So if coarse is bad, then we want to have something that's a lot finer. That way it won't really shred and kind of destroy our nails as we go. That means it's going to take a little longer to file our nails down, but that's okay because it's going to help it be smooth. So you might see these also at the drugstore. The problem with these, and you can use these, but there's always a coarse one on there. You know, this is for if someone's doing their nails, they do it really coarse just to get them short, and then they kind of buff it out with a really fine one, and it gets finer and finer. The danger with that is it might be too coarse in general, but these wear out too. I mean, very quickly the paper on this will just get shredded and you'll have to throw this away anyway. So I don't recommend these either, but what I do recommend that you absolutely should have, and I have one in my car in the little middle compartment there, I have one in my glove compartment, I have one in my guitar case, and that is a glass file, a fine glass file. There's some sites online where you can buy strings, like Strings by Mail is one of those sites. That's a good site. I don't have an affiliate thing with them. Just giving them a plug, because for guitarists, that's a great place to get a glass nail file, because you can also get these at CVS or Walgreens or whatever drugstore, but they also might be too rough. So if you go to a site like Strings by Mail, they're going to be catering to people like us who need it to be fine and not shred our nails. And a lot of them are made in the Czech Republic for some reason. But get one of these, they don't cost a lot. In fact, you're going to spend way less money because you will never, ever, ever break this. Now, I have one right here that I did break in half, if you see that. But what I mean is you're never going to wear it down. Like, I've had this one for years and years, and it just keeps on going. And I can file my nails all day long. Have a few of these lying around, that way you'll always know where one is. And if you lightly crack your nail on a door or something like that happens, you can quickly get that glass nail file and buff that out. That's another danger that we run into a lot. We can do all the right stuff with our nails, but then opening a car door, or there's a million different ways. I've ripped a nail on my sweater before. And if you have that jagged edge, all of a sudden, it's only going to exacerbate itself as the day goes on, unless you can quickly get that nail file out and kind of get rid of that spot, even if you have to file it down shorter than you wanted it to be, just so that you don't further damage it and split it. So the only two things you need are that glass nail file, and I would recommend also some fine sandpaper. And you can get this on Strings by Mail and sites like that too. And what's great about those is they come in a small little fabric strip, and that allows you, because it's fabric, you can really fold it over your nail and really buff it out and kind of shape it. And this is after you do nail filing. I just go to the hardware store, buy a couple sheets of this. I get a fine, I don't even know what the number of this is, because they come in different numbers. The higher the number, the finer it is. And I use that at the end. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to have nails that are too long, probably. Everybody's nails, most of the time, are too long. Longer than they should be, at least. And I'm going to file the nail down. We'll talk about more specifics to this later. And once I get that more or less how I like it, I'm going to get the fine sandpaper out and just go like this. I just kind of do this lightly. It's just this fine finishing kind of buffing action that we can do at the end to make sure everything is nice and smooth. And you really will, if you do that, feel the difference when your nail crosses the string. Okay, how long exactly should your nails be? I can't really answer that, because it depends on the sound that you want and how your fingers behave and what you like and all that stuff, how things feel to you. But in general, we need to look at our fingertip, and here's a weird kind of paradox, or kind of illusion that can happen, is where we look at our palm. So look at your palm, and we can see our fingernails creeping up over the edge there. And so if you had a really fleshy, kind of fat, let's call it, tip of each finger, you might look at your palm like this and barely see your nails coming over and think, oh, I have short nails. When you press the string or anything into that fingertip, you are exposing the nail. And so you might have long nails, but think that you have short nails. So that's why I say it can be an illusion. So take your other finger and just press into your fingertip there and see how much of an indentation you can make there in the skin. And if you can make a lot, then you probably need to have nails that are shorter than you think they should be. Okay, so file it down more than you think you should, and you actually, because of that fleshy tip, will have a moderate length nail. Now, if your fingertips are more bony and not so fleshy, then when you do that palm thing, you can get a better gauge overall as to how long your nails really are, because they're not really going to move that much. And so I have kind of bony fingertips, but I do notice when I play a gig, if I have like a 4-hour gig and I'm playing for a long time, I feel that my nails are getting longer, and I've thought this before. I'm like, am I feeling my nails growing in real time? But I think it's just because I've been pressing so hard, or not so hard, but so often for so long, for several hours against the string, that I just kind of pushed in the tip of my finger and just exposed and exposed and exposed the nail more, and they felt like they were longer. So all the more reason to err on the side of your nails being not too long. If you're learning nylon string guitar, whether you're just starting out or you've been playing for a while but feel unsure about your technique, I have a free in-depth workshop to help you. We'll go over the 3 simple but powerful concepts most players overlook, the common mistakes that make learning harder than it needs to be, the 3 most essential right-hand techniques that form the foundation of great playing, and a focused exercise I created to help you build efficiency with just a few minutes of practice a day. You'll also get a free 15-page nylon string quick start guide to help you along the way. Get the link below this video. Now, the tremolo technique is a great nail check, as is arpeggio. And if you think about it, tremolo really kind of is arpeggio. Here we have an arpeggio, and then tremolos when we do it on one string. Now, whatever it is about the tremolo, and I think it's because we have to really orient our knuckles here parallel to the strings, kind of gets us in a position where if our nails are too long, as mine are now, remember I said my nails are too long, and so it was very difficult for me to play what I just did, and it sounded very tinny and naily. Again, another bad thing about having nails that are too long. But you can really tell if your nails are too long when you play tremolo, especially recuerdos, I think. Because we have to play tremolo on an interior string, we can really get away with cheating a lot when we play tremolo on the first string, which is normally where we see tremolo. We can really just let our fingers fly like this, almost like we're doing a reverse rosqueo or something. But if we do it on an interior string, tremolo, like recuerdos does, it really forces us to stay honest with our technique and really be aligned along that string. And if your nails are the least bit too long, you will absolutely know it when you do tremolo. The way that I file my nails down is, some people will say, don't go back and forth, okay? But at the beginning, I mean, if my nails are too long, I definitely am gonna go back and forth. And I'll even use my finger to do that instead of using the nail file, whatever you want. This is my thumb. That's a whole other can of worms. Like, how do we shape the thumbnail? Again, depends on what you wanna do. I have a longer thumb, and how your thumb reacts. Everybody comments on my crazy bendy thumb. Well, I think that affects how I shape my nail, because I'm attacking the string at a little bit of a different angle because of that. So I'm gonna do a lot of back and forth here, and I'll do it on all the fingers. What we wanna do though, I've noticed, like if you go straight on the nail, like that, that's not as good, a little bit underneath, because just think about how we actually do attack the string, and so we're more underneath the nail than we are right on the tip of it, right? But once we get to a certain point of getting them, and it's gonna take me forever, so I'll probably end up leaving and coming back, but once we get to a certain point where we're getting closer to where we want them, then we're going to start going in one direction here, and it's just kind of like, you know, shaving against the grain or with the grain or whatever it is people do. It just contributes to the nail remaining smooth and strong and all that stuff. So the typical place where you're going to have a hard like edge, where I don't think we want it, is right here. This confluence, let's call it, of the flesh and the nail, that's a great spot to strike the string at, and I use that spot quite a bit. So if you have like an L shape there, like a hard 90-degree angle, you're going to get caught there. So you might have nice short nails, everything's looking good, but then if you have a hard angle there, you're going to get caught on that. So I like to just smooth it out as much as I can, so it's kind of, you know, not just that direction, but more like an oval or arch shape. I know in Pumping Nylon, he tells you to do a ramp, kind of at a slant, but that creates for me a big edge on the other side of my finger, which I don't want, because sometimes we want to play if we're doing pizzicato or some different techniques, or if we're doing any muting with our thumb, we might turn around and play on the other side of our nail, and I don't like to get hung on that. So I do the same thing on both sides, right? So I keep it more oval. But again, everybody's different, so you have to experiment with that. So I'm going to file these down until they get a lot shorter, and then we'll come back and see if I can play any tremolo. Okay, I made it back. I had grown my nails out for as long as I could before I had to play a gig. Then we looked at my nails, filed them down a little bit, and I had to go play a gig just then, and now I'm back. Let's see how my nails are different. See, the pinky can be longer because we only use it for rosqueos when we're hitting the string like that. So we don't have to really pluck the string. So that's why it can be longer. The other ones though now are a lot shorter than they were. There's still some nail there. But if you notice how nice and round it is, I've got it like a slope, a curved kind of arch there. And then my thumbnail is also, I'm attacking the string in kind of a different way than the other fingers, and I'll show you what that means in a second. But for me, this has worked out a lot better, and I'm able to pluck the strings without getting stuck. So like I said, for me, the ultimate test is, can I play tremolo on an interior string? So let's play recuerdos here. And by the way, I do, I'm not sure why, I'm sure maybe some of you do. I dig my fingers into the strings in between the nail and the skin like that, and just kind of rub them along the string. We can do that with sandpaper actually, and I'll show you that in a second here. Especially on the bass strings, since they're wound and coarse, and you can kind of go like this, and this just helps me kind of prepare my fingers in that area between the skin and the nail to get ready for whatever I'm doing, especially tremolo. So let's check it out. So already that feels a lot smoother to me. I'm not getting caught because the nails are shorter. They're not just shorter. I've smoothed them in every way that I can all across the nail, so that I can strike the string without it sounding brittle too. So another strategy can be to kind of tilt your nail. Let's say if you have a real thin nail and the sound is also thin, if we can tilt it this way to where your finger would be following this trajectory except go up, we can kind of slide along the string that way, and it can sound fuller that way. So So I find that if I have any problem in my nails, I have to make little micro adjustments sometimes, depending on how I file my nails. You know, we're not robots, and I'm certainly not, and we can't really file it down the exact same way every time, and your nails are doing different things. It's humid, it's dry, it's hot, it's cold. If we can be more versatile by changing the angle to adjust for what our nail is doing that day, that's what we need to do. So when we're doing the sandpaper thing, it's after you file with a glass file. But not only then, I'm always kind of smoothing these out. So that's why we want to have the sandpaper handy. Put it around the house, different places. This is 600, by the way. Earlier I couldn't find the number. This one's 600. You can make it even finer than that. I think this is a good number though, in terms of coarseness. And so I'm always just kind of smoothing out those rough edges because they develop over time. And what I've seen people do, and this is kind of a cool tip, is like you can take a little piece of this, a little piece of your sandpaper, and fold it over the string. I'm going to fold it like this, crease it, get it over the string, one of the strings, and then just run your nail along the length of that string, and you can kind of smooth it out, file it down just a little bit at the exact area that's going to strike the string. So I do that sometimes, but I mean, to be honest, hardly ever do I do that. I think it's just totally fine to smooth it out like this, and get some of those fabric ones are great too, because you can already have a contour when you do it. One final thing you can do, of course, we have the acrylic nails. You can go to the nail shop and put those on. I just could never get into a habit or a regimen to do that. And I find that it makes your fingernails a little bit thicker than I would like. And then when you need to do something like tremolo on an interior string, you can't do it because you're banging against the string, because it's already a very delicate prospect anyway. It's like playing a game of operation there. You don't want to hit the neighboring string. But if you do the acrylic nails, it's great for rosqueos. You can really get a lot of power and volume out of those, and your nails are super hard. But the thickness there makes you bang into other strings for more intricate stuff. So again, it depends on what you're going for, what exactly you're playing. Are you playing really intricate passages, or are you just kind of strumming hard? And finally, what I also used to do is put nail hardener on. That's another thing that I don't do anymore. Somebody told me one time, the older you get, the harder your nails get. I don't know if that's true, but I think for me it is true. Because my nails used to crack and split a lot more than they do now. But nowadays, I mean, I would say for the last 8 years, I haven't done anything with my nails in terms of putting a product on there. I've just been doing what I showed you today. And they've been strong and sturdy, and I think have felt pretty good and sounded pretty good. But I did used to use nail hardener sometimes, just clear nail hardener, which you couldn't find anywhere. And what that does is the two things. One thing is it can give you crisper rosqueos when you're hitting the string. You can really kind of tell the difference. Kind of slight, not nearly as much of a difference as if you did the acrylic nail, certainly. But I think the greatest benefit of using that nail hardener is that it keeps you from so easily breaking your nails just by your everyday life and touching things and handling things, whatever. So like I was saying, this is a weird subject. It's really hard to really pin down how actually do we do this. It's different for everybody, and you do have to experiment with it. And this whole fingernail thing is definitely one of the, I would say, 2 necessary evils of the guitar. I would say for nylon string guitar, it's the main necessary evil. We need to have nails, at least a little bit, not really long nails, to get some good volume and get different tones and things. The other necessary evil of the guitar is bar chords. So I hope you got something out of this video. Please like and subscribe if you like what I'm doing. And I did mention tremolo several times in this video. If you're interested in that, there's many ways to play tremolo, mainly classical in a group of 4 notes, and flamenco tremolo, which is a group of 5 notes. I can tell you all about that and give you some great exercises for that in this video right here.